This is a 2006 Toyota Avensis with the 150 2.2 D4D engine and the 6-speed manual gearbox. We're going to service it today, and the reason why we're doing this is because there's currently no Haynes manual available for it. So let's get to it. There's not much to see in here, but as soon as you start peeling back the layers, you can take this plastic cover off by just ripping it off, and I've just held on by 3 poppers, so just take them off. As you can see, there's a lot of plastic under the engine, so we're going to have to take this off to access the oil filter and the oil. To take off these poppers, you don't take off the full thing like that, you have to just take the centre piece off. Finally, the popper is out. You can see which way it's designed. So you take the centre bit out first and the rest just pops off, and therefore all 3 legs are intact. For these screws you will need a 10mm socket. It's placed over the top there, and preferably a 3/8 socket set. Simple as that. Okay, now we take the sump plug off, and to do this we need a 14mm socket attached to the largest lever you have, not necessarily for power but just for control, so that when it does crack it doesn't snap. That's it. So now it's loose, so a load of oil is going to come out there any second, so I'm just going to nip that back up with my fingers and get the oil tray underneath in readiness. While we have this nipped up, over here we need to make sure we can take the oil filter canister off. Now this is only supposed to be finger tight, and you can see it's just starting to budge there now, so that's good. If you see, this is, if you have trouble at home with yours, you can always just tap the edge with a hammer. Just to loosen it a bit there, just to assist you there. And there you can see that's nearly ready to go, that. So we're just going to leave that there because we need to drain the oil first out of the sump before we drain the oil filter. Otherwise everything, 5 litres of oil, come out here instead of controllably out of the sump bump plug. Okay, put a couple of old tea towels down here, the wife won't mind, and here's the oil tray. You must make sure that the 2 plugs are out here, because the oil goes in there and the air has to come out there. If you don't, the air will come out as the oil's going in and it'll spill over. Make sure that's tight as well, and then we'll just put it over on its side, and you have to kind of guess where the oil's going to go. No going back. Okay, we're on a slight tilt here, so I'm just going to assist that. Comes out very quickly. It's a good sign. So the oil's almost stopped dripping now. We've left it for a good 5-10 minutes. This will run forever. You'll never get rid of all the rubbish at the bottom of the sump. So we're just gonna put that back in finger tight. Use your fingers don't use the spanners or anything, because if you cross thread the threads in the sump, you're in a sorry situation. So you just do it finger tight and all of a sudden it should just nip. That's it. Now we can nip the sump bung plug back up. Now not too tight, because this has to come off next service. Probably about 50 Newton meters of torque, which is about the length of this 3/8 ratchet and the strength of one arm, if you catch my drift. Okay, now it's time for the oil filter change. So with the oil catch tray still in place, but just now underneath the oil filter instead of the sump bung plug, I'm just going to put my glove on just for a bit of extra grip. Okay. Can't be long now. Great. Here we go. Now don't drop this, remember, a fair bit of oil come out of this. We need to try and let it controllably go out. That's it. Okay. And that is the old oil filter. So here we have the old oil filter. This went in the engine like this. And here we have, take out old oil filter like that. Remember which way this comes out as well. Here we have new oil filter. You see the old and the new one. These normally are this colour due to the amount of oil. Just put that back in like that. Okay. Now you notice on the side here, well, the first I have these O-rings which need to be put on because they perish over time. So I'm going to take them off the old one, like so. Don't worry about affecting the new one. Look at the new one on. And there's the new one on there. Make sure it's properly in the groove all the way around. Okay, so now we're going to put the new oil filter back into the casing. Now again, you just have to feel it with your fingers. Make sure you put it in finger tight so as not to cross the threads, because if that happens on something like this, it's a whole new casing. Okay, I've cleaned the oil filter housing up a little bit so you can see a bit better what I'm doing now. Now when we tighten this up, it should be 25 Newton meters, which is not a lot at all. So that, in my estimation, is one hand strength with a grippy glove. Perhaps two hands just to be on the safe side. Great. Now you can, that all of a sudden nips up metal on metal. That's fine. So the oil filter housing is on tight, and the sump bung plug is on tight as well. So now there's no oil in the engine, or there's only a few dregs left. So now we'll have to put the new oil in the engine. Now to put the new oil in, this is the type of oil I've got, 530. It does say Ford, but I'm sure the guy at Halfords knows his stuff and he's given us the right one. So we'll make sure the dipstick's out, so that comes out there. We've already taken that out for when we drain the oil. That just allows the air to go inside as the oil's coming in. So we take the oil cap off. Okay, that's what it looks like. Great. I'm using a simple funnel. It just helps make sure that the oil doesn't go outside the funnel, and you can pour this in relatively quickly. So this engine probably takes about 5 litres. I currently don't have a Haynes manual, so what I'm going to do is put in roughly 4/5 of this oil, so I'm going to put in 4 litres and then check with the dipstick in 5 minutes time to see if I need to put any more in. Okay, the level's there now. It's about 4/5. So I'm going to leave this for about 5 minutes now and see what the dipstick says. Okay, 5 minutes is up. Take the dipstick out, see what we have. Now you'll notice that the oil is just below the minimum point. The difference between minimum and maximum on a dipstick is generally about half a litre. So we've only put about 4 litres in, so we put another 3/4 in. That should be okay. I will take a final dip. I've actually put all the oil, all 5 litres of it in the engine, and this is what comes back. So you can see there that it's just about 2/3 up the way the mark between empty and full. Now we've only given it 10 minutes for the oil to drain, so by the time all the rest of the oil is drained down to the oil sump, that mark will be back up to the full. So I'm quite happy with that. Remember to buy some top up oil, just a litre or so, to take you to the next service, because every engine loses a little bit of oil. Whenever you use the turbo, use a little bit of oil. You might get a little bit of black smoke out of the exhaust. That's just a little bit of oil. Or the engine tray is simply a reversal. I've taken it off. See, we've got the gearbox part on there on that side, but we took the engine part off. So what that basically happens is we stick it back on, something like that. I can't do this with one hand, so I'm just going to have to show you the finished result. Okay, that's the engine tray on. So now for the final piece of the jigsaw, we put on the engine cover. Again, reverse of how it came off. This should pop in. There should be 3 poppers. That's it. And that is a 10,000 mile service for Toyota Avensis 2006 D4D 150.